So much for staying with us. Unfortunately, we're not able to connect with Utibe Omori now, our judiciary correspondent, to take us through what is happening and what the atmosphere is like at the Supreme Court due to some technical difficulties. But the engineers are working on that, and we will sure bring this discussion to you as soon as we're able to sort that out. For now, we go over to our next interview in the studio, and that's to remind you that the Advertisers Association of Nigeria, that's Advan, has filed a suit against the Advertising Regulatory Council, that's ARCON, and they are targeting clearly what they called unconstitutional aspects of the new law, which oversees the work of advertisers in Nigeria. So we do have the president of the Advertisers Association of Nigeria, or Samede Uwubame, now joining us to clarify some of the issues and why Advan has decided to take the federal government to court. Thank you so much, Samede, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So much talk about this law. In fact, before now, there were insinuations that Advan has already taken, ARCON to court. But it would seem like in your press statement yesterday, you said it is just now. It is now that you have decided to go to court. But we'll come back to you to find out exactly why you have taken that decision and what aspect of that law are you actually quarreling out there. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So back to the studio, talking about Advan and ARCON, the Obbas. So lead us into it. What exactly is the problem?
Okay, thanks once again for having me. I just want to start by saying, like what you referred to, the level of communication is a lot of misinformation. So we had not gone to court, and people were saying we had gone to court.
That's before now?
That's before now.
Okay.
So what had happened was sometime last year, we sat with the legal team and having reviewed what the law was saying and where if we think it's infringing on our rights, we had to write to interested parties to say, these are our grievances and these are the reasons why we might go to court if we need to go to court. So the law gives opportunity for dialogue. So when I write to you, I'm expecting people to write back. We got no communication to say, come, let's have this conversation. I will say to you, since last year, we have spent a lot of time dialoguing. And we find out that the misinformation, I've been called a blackmailer, a lot of things have been said about me, but for the interest of the industry, I would leave me out and I will make it about the industry. So I have built my career, my reputation, and my integrity, but the industry must move forward. So the misinformation is very, very huge. And I did promise when I was asked that question about 4 months ago that when I go to court, when the association goes to court, when the ESCO decides to go to court, when Advan member says it is time to go, we will let the whole world know. And that's why I'm happy AIT has picked up on all the different communications and they have said, why are you in court? Because now AIT is sure we are in court. Because you didn't call us when you heard the rumor, but you were sure that when it is right to call them, we'll call them. So what's the root cause? The root cause is certain part of the pronouncement, law, policies, or enactment has made it virtually impossible for us to do our jobs. Our contract is the basis at which we work. So we have a lot of vendors, suppliers, agencies that work for us. So we sit with them. We agree terms, we agree way forward, we agree the whole scope. It's been legislated. There's a pronouncement. So up to how I even do the process, what I pay for the process. I finish the process, you go into the terms. Rates to pay, days I must pay. You leave that, you go into dispute resolution. Normally, okay, just to bring some context, on Monday, the president said that he would respect the sanctity of every legal contract that was had even before his administration. That's the strength of contract. Contracting is what makes businesses happen, make business flow, make business possible. When you have said to me how you call people at the beginning, look into that, say to me how I contractors of commercial terms, say to me dispute resolution. So I cannot have a dispute with you and look at my contract and say these are the arbitration steps. We'll have to sit down, have to talk before even taking any legal actions. There are ways, there are communications. It's stated in contracts, not just for us, but every other contract that has a business leg to it, which is also what our contract is. A very serious point was sometime last year, a member of ours had an issue with a vendor. They were stopped from doing any form of marketing. That is about 2 billion off the table for everybody. I mean, you want to develop an industry and taking money off the table for people. So it's a case for one person, then you stop every other person. So the root cause is clear. We are saying, can we be allowed to do our contract with people? Because if you bring terms into a contract, people will not be happy. Because at the end of the day, you're already bringing grounds for discord. If I agree with you, as a gentleman, as a law-abiding citizen, as corporate, you will also vouch for your integrity. Whenever we're entering contract, we know who are entering contract with. So we expect you to say this contract is the document in which we work by. So there has been misgivings. So the root cause is, can we be allowed to do our jobs? Can we be allowed to even have our contract, have the sanctity of our contracts respected? Because it was by two parties willing to contract, and there are terms there that both parties have agreed to. And that's where the root cause stands for. We don't want people to start writing our contracts and there's nothing left to do. We just execute. Because if you have told us how to get them, how to pay them, how to fire them, or how not to fire them, how to get the replacement, please, what's my role? What's our job? What will our procurement team do? It's so fundamental. Telling me how to pay. If you know what they call payment policy, it's not even from any department. It's a corporate policy. So the way it works is, for you to pay your creditors, you must collect from your debtors. So converting whatever product you have to cash is fundamental in that chain. There are some of our members that sell to even government agencies, and before they go through their procurement process, then get approval to pay you, it's about 90 days, which to me is fair because of the volume of the work they handle for government agencies. But we have to live by such rules. Telling me to pay maximum 45 days, once the invoice gets 30 days, there are members that pay upfront. Because even their collection process is faster. If you are selling prepaid, you can pay upfront. But if you have to convert products to cash, you have to know me to really make such laws. Please. So it's very key for us to say to the whole world, we had dialogue for almost a year on this issue. We've met every secretarial group. In fact, one of my meetings with one of the secretarial groups, a fellow president said to me, if you agree, go to court. I have never said court before then. I was told in a meeting of, let's try and reconcile. Other secretarial presidents were at that meeting. They can bear me witness. I was told, if you agree, just go to court. I said, my association's members are saying, we can take a look at this. Just go to court.
So there was no room for any meaningful, decision to go on this. But see, because the argument is that you said you wrote to government and to ARCON, and that if you write, you expect a response. But the ARCON, in responding to this, did say that they did not receive any letter. I think it's the DG that's talking, that they did not receive any letter, that the only letter that he said there was nothing like questions. You said 50 questions you posed for response. Okay, he said there was nothing like that. That the only document that Advan gave them is a notice to file a suit against them.
Okay, so when you want to file a suit, the notice you give is for people, so the court allows you, so that people can have because the courts don't want to even get cases. They want you to resolve. If I say I'm aggrieved, I need you to please explain the following things to me. That letter was sent on the 20th of March 2023. If you had any issue and said, what is this letter even saying? Are you saying you're going to court? Please explain your letter. It's a form of communication. It is not a court document. On that letter, there is no, because if a court serves you, you know the court you are going to. It's served by the bailiff of the court in most cases, if you've had to deal on legal basis. This was served by us through courier to them with a stamp. Because we said, these are our issues.
And it was acknowledged. Was there an acknowledgement?
Yeah, it was acknowledged, yes. I have it here. It was by front officer Aisha and all that. It was acknowledged with their stamp there. It was acknowledged. So if you think, oh, this is a court summon, please have a conversation. Ask your legal team to look at it. They will understand better. I'm not a lawyer, but if I get this kind of letter, I think my legal team will be able to explain what it says to me, which is what we would have expected. There was no response. So even at that, we had several meetings. There was a dialogue we had last year. We got the essay to president, a very nice lady, to sit in our midst. And in the end, she was like, oh, there's need to dialogue. There's need to settle this stuff. Because people they are passionate about this. Just to be clear, who are we? We don't own the brands, but we are passionate because they are our babies. we work for brands that we don't even own the shares. We're not major shareholders. We're just staff. So the brand people are even wondering that for these people to do all this, for the brand's sake, they must really love what they do. And we do. I invite every member on our side. We love what we do. And so when we see something that says, who owns the brand? The shareholders. Who are we protecting here? The shareholders. Who are they trying to write contracts for? The shareholders. Because everybody knows that we do day to day. But the real owners of whatever we are doing are the shareholders. So those are the people we are really protecting.
Now, I do know that before any amendment is made to a law, there used to be, discussions, public hearings as to, getting all the stakeholders involved in a certain sector, to air their views. Did any of that happen?
Okay, so the only one I can speak to before I became president was there was a certain conversation around council membership. Around council membership. I repeat. So it was even a heated conversation. I would love to end this by saying something about how the council members were not constituted. We were of the opinion that if you want to constitute the council, because there should be a council. There's no council, and over the years there has not been council. There has always been like that. So it's run by the DG, but the law-making body of the regulatory council is the council body, which is the people that have the powers to do a lot of what they are supposed to do. So we are only called in around the membership of the council. We had conversation and we said, okay, every secretarial body should have a seat. If I tell you what came out under the law, people were given seats, and then some other sectorial bodies got, okay, so I can read it out to everybody to hear. The membership of the council has representatives such as the chairman appointed by the president, the DG of the council would also be the vice chairman, then one of the representatives not below the rank of director from the ministry, which is Ministry of Information, then one representative for Nigeria University Commission, Board of Technical Education, Broadcast Commission, Bond, newspaper proprietors, the outdoor practitioners, which are really the sectors we work with, the advertising, one from each, media independence, one, experiential marketing, one, 5 representatives from the Association of Advertising Council of Nigeria. This was the only conversation we were having because we were thinking it was high time we get a council. So we were feeling we need to go get National Assembly to say, okay, let's get a council. Let's please give us a council. 5 from one side, 1 each. And we said, what is going on? That was the only question. I will not be on air. Everybody knows me. I'm calling out facts, reading from, so I will not come and lie or say anything that is not factual. That was the only conversation we were told was going to the assembly. We have a body called HESG. And the president is the guys that do the independent media buying association. From what I learned, he even had a hard time even talking on that floor about this same council's composition. So, over the years, I want to also say something. So people now see, I want to make it clear, boycott is a protest language. The association had boycotted, my association, Advan, as the president and the ESCO. We have been boycotting events. So each time media people call me and say, why are you not here? Why are you not here when you do stuff? And I laugh. You should understand boycott is a protest language. I cannot say, please, let's have conversations. Let's straighten stuff. And you want me to sit. So you have advertising conference coming up. You have this. We can't sit there because we have grievances that we need to dialogue. I say to you, call even communications to our members that says, we are in court, but we are open to dialogue. I would take a whole day, a whole week to sit down with people and say, understand our system.
Okay, I saw that aspect of your press statement where you said even though you are in court already,
yes,
but you are open to discussions and conversation. But the DG is saying that, your letter was acknowledged, like you also posited here, but you didn't give the 30 days notice, at least for let's calculate by the time you send the letter and now whether what the law requires you to do.
The letter was sent on the 20th of March 2023. 30 days from March. This is October. This is October. Come on. So you see, if you work in corporate, we are data fact driven. We understand. I said to people in the industry that most people see us for our brand budget, but they are missing the point. We are intelligent people. Brands, you go to a function, they serve you 10 brands, which I don't want to call dream brands. You pick one. We have built that thing in your heart. We have made you love that brand. Because why? Sometimes you don't ask them to bring, if somebody has taken that brand off the table. That's who we are. Brilliant people that work with data, have knowledge, know people, know the mindset of people. We are the reason why when you call brands, it's what we do for a living. Name any major brand today. I can tell you there's an advertising expert, a marketer like me that had built that brand. Even your brand. You have marketers working with you that's building, making sure your studio is up to spec, your signals, telling people about what you do. So we cannot come here and lie. Data speaks for itself. And please, I don't want you to make it a conversation between me and the DG. Because I would come
and go. No, the DG is speaking on behalf of ARCON.
I will come and go. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to make it a personal conversation. I will come and go. The DJ would serve his term and will leave. But the industry, I say to people, and I'll make it clear, what's my aim? I want an industry, and I've said it at HTSG. I don't want to lead. I want a seat on the table. My fellow presidents can bear me witness. I am not head of the HTSG. Oh, you have the budget. I said it's not about the budget. It's about sitting down here and moving this industry forward. There are things we can do. Have that conversations with us. I want an ecosystem where the advertisers are meeting their numbers. For us to meet our numbers, we need the vendors, the suppliers, the agencies, whatever they want to call them, to help us make it happen. To then finish the conversation, when we leave this side of the divide, most often than not, our members move to the agency side. So the open agencies, if I don't support that ecosystem, how do my members meet an ecosystem when they leave? So for me, it's a win-win that works. I want brands to get their numbers, to achieve their numbers with the help of these agencies. Let us contract with them. Let us do contract with them. Let us tell them what we need. Let them agree what they want. Let us give them. We and them. Don't regulate our conversations. Don't legislate our conversations. So
how did this find its way into the law guiding your practice? Because was there a lacuna really that you agitated for that led to this amendment that is causing this fracas?
So I will say categorically, I am of the opinion, and certain members of also my opinion, that our pushback, because we said to them that we have major regulators. So if you are in food and drug, like we are, so we are brands, but our core function, like if you are in a telecom, your major regulator will be the NCC. If you are in the bank, your major regulation will be the CBN. So I'll tell you how that even affects us. Whatever we send to ARCON, we must send to our regulators first. And I will tell you categorically, it makes a lot of sense. I had tried something with them. There were issues in the financial sector. I was working in the financial sector then, and I was trying to kind of get customers. Everybody wants to get the best. My regulator, the CBN, saw through it. I don't think any other regulator has seen through. So because there was an intent in the communication. So you read a communication message, it makes sense, it's devoid of rancor, badges of language, you let it go. But who knows the intent is our supervisory agency. So CBN wrote to us and says, we want these banks to revitalize, we'll sell them eventually, we won't allow you to pick their customers. Why would they know that? Because they are in the industry, they know our business, they know us. So every communication material we send to the regulator, which we always do, has to go first to our primary regulator. They will not let you take that from them. So it's like, when you say ease of doing business, okay, we do it on both ends. We send it to A, we send it to B. We have been sending. So back to ease of doing business. Ease of doing business means we want government to enable us to do better, to do faster. A situation when you are not entering my contract. Can I even start a business that way?
But ARCON says that will position your practice better and prevent short corners and short changing
telling me
people.
When to pay. Okay, if you want to talk reforms, we are very open to reforms. Build capacity. Invest in the sub-sectorial bodies. Build capacity. Do you know that from our end, my training is a conversation that my line manager must have. Money has to be kept for my training. They build us. So if you want to do reforms, build capacity. Just to bring some conversations to home, the model ban, about 4 or 5 years ago, HSD wrote to the then head of ARCON, when it was ARCON, that signed by all presidents, it is not a good idea. I was called by an international media house. You know what they said? Nigeria bans white models. They didn't say foreign models. So they were trying to twist it into the conversation around racism. I would not accept that. I fought throughout the interview. I am first and foremost a proud Nigerian. You cannot do that. So when you do such laws, people have a way of twisting it. Why would our regulator be talking about media rates? Bond does media. Why would I be talking about media rates? Bond, we're not saying you can't increase your media rates. Let us have conversations, no problem. But let us stick to reforms that will move people forward.
All right.
So on a final note, way forward is dialogue. And please understand our system. We all have different collection dates for our debt. If you understand that, you cannot do a blanket fiat of a minimum 30 days, maximum 45 days. It does not work.
All right. It's interesting to know that they're still open doors for dialogue, even though you're already in court. The Advertisers Association of Nigeria has filed a suit against Advertising Regulatory Council, ARCON, targeting clearly what it tags unconstitutional aspects of its new law, but says the door is open for conversation to resolve the issues. The president of our Advertisers Association of Nigeria, Osamide Uwubame, has been our guest on this issue. Do have a great day, and we wish you a peaceful resolution.